All right, and we are ready to rock and roll here. So today we are going to talk about 8 surprisingly common actions and habits that invite dark energy and entities into our fields. I'm also going to get into portals and what you need to know there about how they are just living on earth with us, right? Because it's like, how can these things even get here? Why does God allow this? Hopefully I'm going to make that so much more clear. And for those of us who joined live, any questions you have, you can drop them in the chat. If I don't see them, I will just get to them at the end when we've got our own one-on-one where you guys get to ask me questions in private. And if anybody wants to join this live session and be a part of that private Q&A, you can sign up for that on the link in my bio. I believe it's on Instagram or YouTube. And then you can be a part of our community where you can ask me questions in a private format that are not recorded. So how do we attract dark forces? Right? This is the number one thing that I am talking about here when I say the 8 surprisingly common. Like, you're going to be like, wow, that happened. I did that. This happened in my past, in my future with my parents. And it actually can make us a target. It opens the door. Sometimes it's that we are in agreement with these energies and entities. I like to say this when I'm teaching on this in Priestesses of Protection. You can ask the ladies who've been through the group with me before. I repeat this on repeat. Dark forces, dark energy is always a reflection of some sort. This is also talked about in the Bible, and God calls this correction. So that's a scary word, but the point here is that when we've got these entities and energies in our field, there is always a message. It's like how they say with emotions, that emotions are just messengers. It's the same thing with dark energy and dark energies. So how we attract them, how we open the door. It's like if you imagine that your energy body is a house, right? Because it really is. It's your house. It's just in the energetic realm and you can't see it through your human eyes. But I like to think of my energy body just when I'm doing work on it in my mind, I'm seeing like a box with a little roof on top and it's a house, okay? I do that also for my business. For the entrepreneurs who are watching this, I also separate the energy body of myself and my business, and I clear them separately and I use different protocols on them. Just a little hot tip there. But the number one thing that can allow these energies and entities to enter our field is a dysfunctional relationship with God, Source, the Creator, the King of the universe. Now, there is only one true God. There are a lot of nuances to this. This could be like a 2-hour training right here. But some things for you to look at if you feel like this is really resonating with you is, who are you praying to? Who are you connecting to? Is it the one true God? When I am setting the intention in a prayer session, a meditation, using intuition, I'm always connecting to God. I'm not going to any other source because they do not have anything. Spirit guides, ancestors, even your higher self doesn't know everything in the way that God does, the one true creator of the universe. So when I am doing my own sessions with intuition, I will actually clarify and qualify that I am speaking to the one true God, the creator of all creation, the king of the universe, to make sure that I've opened the right channel. It's like if you imagine, when you used to have a radio in your car, right? That's obviously not how we're living in these electric vehicles anymore, but you're turning the dial. You want to make sure that you get to the right dial, and it is that specific, like how it's 1197 or whatever that station is. But it is that specific because there are entities that act as false gods. There are reptilian entities that act as false gods. There are king demons that can act as false gods. Lucifer and Satan can act as false gods. If you don't clarify, they have the authority to do that. That is a God-given authority. That is why they call the devil the deceiver. So food for thought there. Who are you really connecting to, right? Number 2, playing victim, right? Being mad at God, being a victim in your life. Those kind of go hand in hand, or we can separate them. The first thing I'll say about victimhood is that is programming that we've been sold. And it's from the And I'm not going to say that out loud since it is a live recording and people are listening to this and I don't want us to get shadow banned in the middle of it. But you can do more research on that, where from a very young age, we are taught to think of ourselves as victims. So I am not blaming anybody who feels this way. And I have certainly felt this way at different points in my journey. I was sick with black mold and parasites for over 6 years, about 7. So I certainly know about the feeling of feeling like a victim, of thinking God must hate me, right? I've literally had that thought on a number of different occasions when things got really, really challenging. Like, I must be being punished, right? That's the literal thought I've had. I must be being punished for something. Did I murder somebody in a past life? Like what? And right, we've probably all done that. But anyway, I was trying to think of the biggest thing that I could have possibly done to have so much karma to work through in this life, when actually that wasn't what's going on. But it take me turning on spiritual sight and intuition and increasing my connection with God at a very high level to break out of this kind of spiritual cycle. It's almost, I don't want to say it's spiritual bypassing, because I was trying to do deep work. I was just stuck in this cycle where I thought I was getting somewhere and I wasn't. And that can create a lot of frustration with our one creator. But ultimately, God loves us. He's here to support us. I just say he, it's not a he, right? It's not even, it's gender neutral, but they, right? They is what he's actually... They is what God has corrected me with. So they love us. They want to support us. They want the best for us. And the devil, the dark forces, whatever you want to think of it as, the darkness, the deceiver, that's who's lying to you. That's who's making you think that God doesn't love you. God is mad at you for something. You're paying penance for something. You aren't good enough for this. That is not coming from the light. So just be aware of that messaging, because that is from the enemy. Number 2, limiting beliefs, okay? Limiting beliefs create holes in something called our creator field. Now, I get into this in Priestesses of Protection way more in depth, but a brief overview of our creator field is this is the part of our energy body that is holding our thoughts, actions, and beliefs. So essentially, I call it our creator field because it is creating directly the outcomes that we are experiencing in our day-to-day life, okay? You've heard of the law of one. You've probably heard that we are all mirrors for each other. The creator field is a script that we are handing out to people that we're interacting with, and the way that we manifest things is really through people. That is how the economy works, right? If you think about it. So we're handing out this script to people, and they are treating us based on what we have written into our creator field. So why that is relevant here and how it attracts dark forces into our field is if we have a lot of fear, it's a magnet for dark forces. If we have, especially fear of death, right, is a magnet for dark forces. If we have a low self-worth, if we just don't love ourselves, if we aren't pouring into ourselves, and that's not just, doing our hair, doing our nails, doing our makeup. I do those things. Obviously, I did them today. I don't every day, but right? So it's really about building this inner self-worth that has nothing to do with external things and external validation, knowing that you love yourself, that feeling the love that God and the universe has for you, reminding yourself consistently to see proof of your abundance. You're just abundant in nature, right? Because you are a child of the Most High God, the creator God of the universe. And so really building that into your core. And if we don't have a high level of self-worth, and if we have a lot of fear, then that is creating these gaps in our creator field that dark forces can literally break into. If you imagine like a shield, if you're going to war there, and imagine that part, you've had holes in it because you fought a lot, right? Pieces of your shield are broken down. Well, then weapons of warfare can easily get in and cord into you. And that is what happens with dark forces. Another thing I just want to bring to our attention here is that the news is fear-based, okay? It often lowers our vibration. The news literally opens portals on your TV. It's actually just as bad as watching pornography, right? Which we know is morally wrong because of the way that industry operates. This is not just my opinion, right? So main points here, the news can actually just lower your vibration and put more fear into your field. If you look into this, you'll even see that the person who funds a lot of the news stations and who has ties to them also funded the Holocaust, right? So once again, it's not my opinion. When we start to peel back at the layers and we look at the way that things are structured in our society, it really makes you think, I wonder if that's to benefit me or to harm me, right? If that's a part of supporting me, if that's a part of the love and light matrix, or if that is a part of the fear and programming. So you'll also notice too when you're watching the news, the last thing I'm going to say on this is pay attention to this if this isn't something that you're ready to kind of lay down or rework your relationship with, but you'll start noticing that you get sucked in. You feel like you need to watch more and more of it, or read more and more, scroll Apple News, even more, scroll more news on social media, however you're consuming it. It's a portal for dark force energy because you're getting headaches, you're becoming paralyzed, right? And you need more and more of it. You might be feeling symptoms of fear or anxiety or right afterward in your body. Well, those are dark force symptoms. So start paying attention to that. A little clue for you. I'm going to be teaching a tool in my upcoming workshop, just quick sidebar, on May 13th on how to shield from this fear, especially from the news and other people's emotions in that workshop. It's incredible. It works in 3 seconds, and it is a game changer for me and for everybody who's ever been in my Priestesses of Protection group. Okay, number 3 on the 8 surprisingly common actions and habits that invite dark energy and entities into our field. So number 3 is all about emotional volatility, okay? This breaks open our natural protection when our emotions fluctuate so far, high, low. It is about using the law of balance to be more neutral about things, that starting to understand deep at a soul level that nothing is either good or bad, that there's always a different vantage point. So you can use the law of balance. You can invoke this any minute to shift yourself, especially if you are on the low end of the spectrum, right? That would be the fear-based end of the spectrum. So you can always shift into how this is actually a good thing when you start feeling anxiety or fear about something, how this actually helps you, and that will help to neutralize the fear. Number 4 is physical illness and weakness, okay? So chronic illness, having parts of your body that are just not working properly, mold, parasites, right? I talked about an extremely long, almost 7-year journey battle that I had with mold, black mold, stachybotrys, and really insane parasites. That took me a lot of just connecting with God. I was going to say healing work, but really it was just about listening to God, fasting, praying about it, trying a bunch of different things, and really learning that I had to step back into my power, and that was the way out, right? So those are tools that I teach now inside my groups. But emotional volatility breaks open your protection, and when your protection is down, then dark forces can cord into you. So number 5, I'm going to take a quick sip here before I get into this one, because this is a big one. This is all about ancestors, okay? So ancestors with a history of drug abuse, poverty, alcohol, idolatry. What do I mean by that? On the flip side of poverty, it could be that they worshipped money above all things, okay? I had someone in my level 2 of Priestesses of Protection just yesterday. We were teaching a past life clearing technique and a ghost clearing technique. It was a really fun training. And she realized deep in a clearing and a meditation that I was guiding her through that she had family members in a past life who had run a business in a way that had hurt a lot of people. They had made money at any cost, right? That's not how we operate in God's kingdom, right? We think about the consequences of our actions, because when we transition, there is a life review too, right? So anyway, long story short, she felt this deep sense of guilt that she had carried with her into this lifetime, and that it was still affecting her ability to make money in her business. We were able to release some of that and give her tools to continue reprogramming that, okay? And so this is what I mean, that the problems of our ancestors become ours if they were some of these cardinal sins. If you can look at the Bible to reference those, I do get into this in Priestesses of Protection, but you can even just go through the list of cardinal sins and see if anything is resonating with you right now or with family members that you know about, that you have conscious awareness of, and you can just have a conversation with God, have a conversation and just say, hey, I'm sorry that we did this. We didn't know better. Here's why it happened, and that doesn't make it right. And I'm sorry, and really feel that in your heart. And sometimes that is enough to clear it. I also do offer clearings for this and teach clearings on this in my groups, but it is all over the Bible that we have to pay for the sins, essentially the transgressions of our ancestors if they do not pay for them. So I hate to break it to you guys, but it's all over historical texts, including the Bible. You can access this if you want more confirmation. And this is what people call oftentimes generational curses. So it can come from sin or it can come from actual black magic and witchcraft. Those are two different things, but I do teach on both of those. Number 6, okay, plant medicine ceremonies. This is a really unpopular opinion, by the way. I did a TikTok on this and some people loved it and some people told me to go to hell, and that's completely fine. But in plant medicine ceremonies, our consciousness leaves our body, okay? What's happening when we take these consciousness altering medicines is that it's lowering the veil for us so that we can have more spiritual sights and see into other realms. But guess what, guys? It's also lowering the veil for these dark forces and entities, okay? And it makes it really easy for them to cordon and attach to us. And this is why if you have done a plant medicine journey and not felt better after and felt like you needed to keep doing them, right? This is how it gets you hooked in it. It's a whole business and an industry. That's what happened to you, okay? Something corded into you and you weren't able to release it on your own. But don't worry, it is possible to clear your energy field fully, and I will tell you more about my upcoming workshop on that at the end. So number 6 of the habits that allow dark forces into our energy field is all about plant medicines and how this really just breaks open your natural protection, shoots your consciousness outside of the body, and then guess what? No one's left guarding the body. And the body is this beautiful source of light, right? Because we've got this God connection, this God-given DNA that dark forces need to survive here on Realm 3. So that's why they cord in, because they actually need our light to be here. Number 7 is if you have a history of heavy, or even if this is current for you, drug use or alcohol use, and that's okay, no worries. I've literally been there. Some of you may not know this, but I was a DJ for 10 years. I traveled the world DJing, and I sometimes did the late shift because that was actually the better shift. That meant you were more popular if the nightclub was booking you from 1 till 4 a.m., okay? But it's pretty hard to stay awake that late if you are tired and had to work a full day to market the business and, answer customer service and prep your set and all that stuff during the day, okay? So it was a challenging business, and I knew God showed me many of times that this was not going to be a forever thing for me, or that I would literally run myself into an early grave. That was literally a word that was spoken to me many times in that career. So if you're struggling with this, just know that I literally get you, girl. I literally get you, whoever you are listening to this. I feel that, but it does allow dark forces to cord into our energy fields. And once again, it's, especially if you get blackout drunk, or if you're using drugs to the extent that you are out of your consciousness, once again, it breaks open your natural protection and allows dark forces to cord into you. I don't say this to scare you. I just hope that you are thinking about those habits, because oftentimes they are stimulated by entities as well. So the cravings, this is what I've seen in doing hundreds and hundreds of clearings with clients and in my own life. The cravings are actually stimulated by an entity and a demon attachment. There is this very, 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 very specific type of parasitic demon that causes these cravings for alcohol and drugs. And it's just life-changing to learn this and clear it. Okay. Number 8 is promiscuity, or even just sex in general outside of the marriage bed. And I don't say that just because I'm a born-again virgin, which I know people probably think that's wild at my age of 38, but I am. And the reason I say that is because Demons can court in through sex. Entities can court in through sex. We become one in that intimate acts of love, and then they have access to us. So God and Jesus only protect the marital bed. It's written all over the Bible. The bed is protected with the blood of Jesus Christ, which is used in some of the practices I even teach in clearing demons and entities. But it is not protected outside of the union of marriage. So obviously, I have slept with people before this age, and before having the spiritual knowledge that I have now. But this is also why I call it STDs, sexually transmitted demons, because I've seen this so many times in my life and in the lives of my clients that they literally take on their partner's demons and battles. And you may not feel that you have the capacity for that right now. And so then we can clear it, or you can, take a little break from that if that feels aligned for you. Sex just opens up portals, obviously, right? Because it's a tool for souls to reincarnate on earth. So that's why this happens. All right, how do dark forces get here? They get in through portals, like I was just saying. They come from all over, but a lot of them come from realm 2, lower realms of consciousness. And if the earth had vibrated, or did already vibrate at a 500 collectively, then they wouldn't be able to survive here. So that's the goal of the earth right now, is to polarize positively so that ultimately these things aren't affecting us anymore. So that probably just raises another question, I'm guessing. What are portals, right? So a portal is a tunnel that connects time and space, okay? And demons use portals to travel between realms. And almost everything can be a portal, but especially crystals, technology, and mirrors, just to name a few things to get you thinking on this. I give a whole training on this inside Priestesses of Protection with my portal clearing process and everything that you should look at, clear, and shield. But this can be why, just once again, to give the example of you go to a big concert and the energy feels really off there. You feel anxious sometimes in groups of people. Well, in these places with tons of people, there are often tons of dark force portals open, and that's why you're feeling that anxious energy. You're actually just feeling all the energy of the entities that are visiting you guys, that are also at that concert with you, sometimes called in by the person performing in the concert. Won't name any names here, but those of you who know. So one last thing on this, and then we're going to get into the Q&A here in a second for the people who joined us live. Thank you for being here. How do we close them? This is about increasing your intuition. And one last sidebar is that mold also opens portals, and parasites open portals in the body and the energy field as well. So just something to know, if you are having a mold battle, there are just infinitely more dark forces in your field right now because of the mold in the house. But that is something that you can clear, and then you will feel better while you're also in the process of physically clearing the mold in the home and detoxing the body. So when you increase your intuition, then you're able to know how many portals are open and what types of portals are in your home, your energy body, and your business. And I am teaching all about this in my upcoming workshop on May 13th, and it's called The Art of Energetic Protection. It's a mixture of magic and science, all using the powers of God, the one true God, the creator of the universe. And I'm going to be teaching on exactly how to increase your intuition and how to have spiritual sight, even if you're not clairvoyant, so that you can see exactly what's in your field. You're going to get my whole Dark Forces dictionary so that you know what is actually happening, why you're feeling the symptoms that you're feeling. We're going to teach a weakness detox, and this is just a quick 30-second energetic process to clear lower vibrational energies that the dark forces cord into. Remember, we talked about fear and that emotional volatility. This tool clears that. I will also give you that energy vampire clearing for those of you who came last week or watched my training on energy vampires, and you feel brand new after that. I will teach you an emotion shield that keeps you from feeling the fear in the news, the fear that's just in the collective consciousness right now from everybody else's drama, maybe people that you just have to deal with in your daily life. If you're an empath, this is a life-changing tool for you, and it's fast, effective, and easy, and a broadcasting tool that literally feels like magic, but is actually science. It's neural reprogramming, and it helps you program people and events with your desired outcome just in minutes. So if you are interested in joining the Priestesses of Protection Level 1, this workshop is a prerequisite. So I will drop that link in the show notes for this episode, and it's linked in my bio if you are watching this live. And a special code just for today for the next 24 hours. It is Priestess in caps 40 for $40 off just for the next 24 hours. If this is calling you, I wanted to do something special for you, and I'm going to drop it in the chat right now for everybody listening live. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're just ending these lives too so that you guys can ask me personal questions. Alrighty here. Okay, catch you next week, guys.